Of all the lecturers in the University of Ghana, one stands out for his power and influence. Political scientist and outspoken commentator, Professor Ransford Gyampo. He enjoys a great reputation as a teacher among his students. But he's also been at the center of allegations of sexual harassment. We sent an undercover journalist known as Abigail to meet him. Posing as a University of Ghana student from a poor background, she attended one of Gyampo's classes. He agreed to become her mentor. She wrote him essays to review, visited his office 3 times, and he gave her good feedback on her academic work.
So the German situation, academic freedom. So Google what we mean by academic freedom in the first place.
Not everything felt normal. Professor Gyampo wanted her to wear high heels in his office. And then, one Sunday afternoon, Abigail received a strange phone call from him.
Hello.
How are you?
Fine, thank you.
He began to tease her and accuse her of always being formal around him.
Formal. You want to talk about work, nothing else. It's sabudenche.
Abigail tried her best not to upset Gyampo, who became increasingly personal and said he wanted to come over to her house.
Who is not married and doesn't want a decent lady who is also caring? Who of them want?
She reminded him she was a student and told him she wasn't interested in a relationship.
Well, right now, that's why I'm not really interested in
No.
But Professor Gyampo ignored this.
Oh, prepare your mind because I'll be coming very soon.
Eventually, Abigail managed to persuade him to meet in a public place, a mall, instead of her home, later that evening. We knew we would have to be cautious. Long before Abigail met Professor Gyampo, we interviewed a number of his former students who alleged they had been sexually harassed by him. One of them, who we shall call Na, agreed to anonymously speak to us on camera.
So yeah, you need to build that and call them into squares. You can call the
Na told us she was sexually harassed twice by Gyampo. She alleges the second incident took place when she went to confront him about the first harassment.
I felt it was my responsibility to let him know that what he did wasn't okay with me. So I went to him. He apologized and he tried to console me, and in consoling me, he attempted touching me. I was dumbfounded. I just couldn't believe that a moment ago he was apologizing and the next moment he was on top of me trying to touch my breast, hold me, that kind of things.
She says her encounters with the professor and a past history of other abuse have left her traumatized.
It's difficult, and till today I can't sleep with my lights off. I get panic sometimes at night. It's not something you get over, especially when the person is protected and you never get justice for what happens to you.
Before Abigail reached the shopping mall, we knew Gyampo had already crossed red lines over the phone. But we wanted to be sure of his intentions towards his mentee, our reporter. Abigail showed me footage of their encounter. As soon as Gyampo arrived, he insisted on buying her shoes, as she had reluctantly agreed to on the phone.
I want to buy something for yourself.
I told you right into so let me buy one. One for school, one for
I don't want to inconvenience.
kissed Valentine for.
Pardon?
I've been kissed Valentine for.
Have I ever been
Kissed Valentine.
Just...
We were just talking about shoes, and killed violently. I was like, what is going on?
After that comment, Abigail felt it was better to just go and buy the shoes. Once in the shoe shop, Gyampo bought her heels.
Stop pushing yourself away. Don't be my wife.
Pardon?
Don't be my wife. Stop pushing yourself away.
I had literally seen him 4 times, and all of a sudden, marriage.
Back in the restaurant, Abigail asked about internships, but Gyampo had something else in mind.
She's going to reach it. It's grow a bit fat for me. I feel like I'm money. I can fit to my own club.
Don't want me out.
Watching the footage, this didn't feel like a real marriage proposal. The professor laid out how Abigail would benefit from his support.
You can phone and tell me that someone says he wants to marry me after school. Push you to do national service, you push you to do masters.
But he seemed more interested in other things.
I grab you and kiss you and here. By the time I release you, see all the sadness more. What did you do at SSC? You prefer to school.
It's not true. It's not true.
Abigail was then pushed to have a relationship with him. After that, she rang the team and began to leave. But Gyampo made one last move.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Pardon?
Abigail did not hug him. After this meeting, she spoke to Professor Gyampo on the phone, and he told her it was okay that she didn't want to be his girlfriend, but she should continue to be mentored by him. Professor Gyampo vehemently denies sexually harassing Abigail or any of his students, telling us he treats them with respect, care, and genuine affection, and has never been involved in sex for grades. He says several students have made false accusations against him in the past, all of whom he claims were discredited after he confronted them. He says the university has never investigated him for sexual harassment. He told us he never intended to harass Abigail, did not force or intimidate her, and never knew he had offended her. He further claims he was entrapped, which the BBC strongly refutes. Telling Abigail he could help her to gain funding for further studies is something he had done for others, he says, and he had no influence over her academic progress. He says he routinely commends students on their dress and shoes and refers to all his office assistants as wedded wives, saying calling Abigail his wedded wife was a joke. How do lecturers like Dr. Butako and Professor Gyampo get away with their behavior? The university has a committee which investigates sexual harassment. We've learned they dealt with a number of cases where lecturers were accused of harassing students and repeatedly recommended these men be publicly named. But in every instance, the university chose not to do so. Is it hiding the true scale of campus abuse from the public eye? The University of Ghana categorically denies protecting university staff or students judged to have engaged in sexual harassment or misconduct. They say they've sanctioned individuals in the past. They add they've vigorously debated naming and shaming corporates and are considering amending their policy of not doing so. The university says they've been proactive on the issue and are committed to rooting out the problem, encouraging students and staff to report problems and giving support where needed. The university considers the allegations against Professor Gyampo and Dr. Butako to be extremely disturbing, and both men will be investigated. Know what it feels like to be groomed by a university lecturer.
Growing up, I always wanted to end up being a doctor. My mom used to call me her doctor, her little doctor. I was so fascinated about this stuff. I was definitely passionate then. I was so naive.
Becoming a doctor meant even more to me after I lost my dad from appendicitis in 2002. At 19, I got into one of the best universities in Nigeria.
So, my matriculation pictures, I was a happy girl, just floating through life. My dad would have been really proud and really excited to see me matriculate. I probably would have been embarrassed because he would follow me everywhere and give me hugs and kisses. Yeah. He used to embarrass me a lot.
University was nothing like I imagined. A lecturer began to target me. For 2 semesters, he withheld my exam results and pretended I never sat the papers. When I asked him to explain why, he repeatedly demanded to have sex with me.
And I wasn't going to do that. And as a result, right, my results suffered. I never ever imagined that I would be a victim. Unprovoked, I didn't do anything. Yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty sure my dad was there.
I never got a degree. I never graduated. The harassment forced me to drop out of university. I had nobody to turn to, no future, no money. It almost destroyed me.
There are predators everywhere in the universities. And it kills me that there are thousands of other girls that are going through exactly, different variations of what I went through. I really want those lecturers to get justice, what they deserve.